Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. I got a new video for you. This one's going to be about something I'm pretty passionate about because I'm dealing with recently. And I have a lot of clients asking me these questions. And this simply is about the relationship between you, the buyer, me, the realtor, and the builder that you want to build your home with. Or if you want to buy one of the spec homes that they have already built that is move-in ready. So this video is going to be a little bit interesting. Obviously, when people go to buy a home from a builder, whether it's a spec home or a new build, the process seems to be a lot different than when you're buying something on the resale market. People think, when I'm going to go buy my custom house, buy a spec home from the builder, I don't need to use a realtor, right? But when it's on the market, I need to have a realtor to go look at the listings, and then I choose from there, right? But this video is going to be a little bit about why that relationship is the way that it is, and hopefully I can provide a little bit more insight for you. So when people are going to look at a new build, the process actually is a lot more complicated and more detailed than when you're buying a resale property. So actually, people got it flipped around that when you're buying a new build, you actually probably need a realtor more than when you're buying a house that's already in the market. Because when you're buying a house that's on the market already, you see the house, you see everything that's done to it, and it's all there for you, right? The specs are there. I have all the information, which I'll provide to you to make an informed decision. But when you're going to look at something that hasn't been built yet, a spec home that has been built custom by a builder, there creates a lot more problems, and the process is a lot more complicated. So actually, a realtor is more important in this scenario. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that. And first, we're going to go off about, right, you, the buyer, when you're going to go look at a home to purchase, and you want to be building a home or buying a spec home from a builder, what do you want, right? You want the best deal. I know me as a buyer, I want the best deal. It's kind of like when you're going into a car dealership to go look at a car, and you want to buy a car and you want it for the best deal, and you have to deal with the selling agent for the dealership, right? And then the financing person for the dealership. And boy, I just bought a car, and I'm telling you that they have so many tactics that it's kind of, they overload you with stuff and you're confused, and they just pelt you. And I don't think there's a single person out there that hasn't ended up spending more for a car than they went into, and they don't really know why, right? You end up just, in the end, it's just more. There's warranties, there's fees, there's hidden fees, there's tons of stuff, and you're paying way more money in the end. And this is kind of the same thing when you're buying a brand new house. Obviously, a spec home has been built, so it's a little bit more straightforward. But if you're building a custom home, there's a lot of things that they can put in that are going to raise your price way up. And me as a realtor, I can look at that at an unbiased view and say, maybe that's not a good thing. Sometimes, obviously, you want your upgrades, but if you're going overboard and you're hitting your budget, you got to stay within your budget, right? That's the best thing when you're buying a brand new house, because brand new house is kind of like a car. It's going to be losing its value right away, and especially when you've customized it to everything that you want. Right? You imagine you build this beautiful home, you go to sell it, and it doesn't fit what anybody wants. It's just for you, right? So that's something to keep in mind as well. That's the whole thing about custom homes, is you got to talk to me about the resale potential. Like, Ivan, can I sell this if I don't want it anymore? And how much money am I going to lose? Because the same thing as a car, right? As soon as you move into a house brand new, it loses value like right away. Like it's pretty much like driving the car off the lot, for a example there. So you're going to lose about 20-30 grand just moving in. Generally. Obviously, with a single family detached home, it could be different. With a condo, it could be different. Townhouse, it's all different, right? So you as a buyer, I've heard my clients tell me, they're like, I don't want to use a realtor. I just bought a spec home, or I bought a new build and I didn't use a realtor, and it was all great. And when I'm going to buy this property, I don't want to use you, right? So even if they don't tell me that, I generally know that that's kind of what some people are thinking, which, everybody likes to do it themselves. I understand that. But when you're buying a brand new house, it's a pretty big investment. So I think you want to make the most informed decision that you can. So, I mean, that leads on to the next part, which is me as a realtor, right? A lot of people have had bad experiences with realtors. I hear lots of bad stories, and people usually say, I've used somebody, they're terrible. It was a terrible process, but that's why I got into real estate, so I could help my clients and actually have their best interests at heart. Obviously, maybe as time goes on, some agents might lose that mentality because they've been through the ringer and it's not so great anymore for them. But I actually want to stay positive throughout my whole real estate career and help people buy a house and essentially work with people and stay at a certain sort of level when it comes to my consistency when helping my clients, right? So as a realtor, this is the same for all realtors in theory, right? As a realtor, we are kind of like an extension of you when you're buying the property, right? It's imagine you have a right hand that has a brain and it knows everything about real estate. Why wouldn't you use it to sign the contracts, right? So when you're looking to buy a house, right? Us as agents, we've done this before. I'm almost at this current time, I'm almost $10 million worth of real estate sales. I've done tons of deals, so I know all about the contracts. And, I do provide some negotiation skills into the process. As a realtor too, we have access to all of the sold data in the area. So even if you're buying brand new, you can look at someone who bought a house like 3-4 years ago from the same builder that's selling it, or units that have sold in the same area, right? Because people have built houses and they're moving on, right? A builder builds in the first stage, and usually you can look in that first stage and look for what is sold in there. And that's a good indicator of what this new home will be worth, right? So that's what we have access to, and we can help you there. We can try to help you. I mentioned before about sales pitches and upsells. I mean, you don't always want to get all the bells and whistles because some things aren't really worth it when it comes to resell. I think you always got to be looking at resale value when you're buying. You got to think, well, somebody want this if I'm looking to sell. Because me as your agent, I'm going to have to sell it, right? So always ask me, because when I want to sell your property, I want to get you the most money you possibly can get out of it. So that's a great thing to do when you're talking to me, is like, can we resell it? How much money are we going to lose if we go to sell it? There's always a threshold. Obviously, with new builds, you're probably going to lose some money, that's just the way it works, because people could just, instead of buying the house that you lived in, people want a brand new house, and maybe they'll buy in stage 4 of the development, right? Down the street where they're building brand new houses. So you're going to have to price yourself aggressively to get those people to buy your property. And then we got to think, next we're talking about the builder's rep. So the builder's rep, when you go into a show home, like, there's no doubt about it, that rep works for the builder, right? They have the builder's best intentions in mind. It's kind of like when you're going to drive by a property and you see an agent on the sign. That agent on the sign currently works for the seller. So that agent is going to have the seller's best interest at heart. And when you're spending like 400, 500, 600 grand, do you really want to be working with somebody that has the seller's interest in mind, or do you want to work with me, who you probably know me if you're watching this video? I have got you in my mind, right? I want to help you out as much as possible, and I love a good deal. I live for the deal. Personally, I love a good deal, and for you, I want you to get a good deal. So why wouldn't you want me on your side? It's a no-brainer. The next thing about the builder's rep is that they also get paid commission. So what happens essentially when you're going to buy a property, this is honestly, like they are getting commission for it, and they don't want us realtors to work with them because it reduces their commission. So there's kind of a myth when it comes to buying a home that you can get a better deal without a realtor. And maybe that could be true sometimes, but usually not. There's the same amount of room to negotiate a home. It just depends if that builder's rep is willing to cut their commission or not to get the deal done, right? So, which usually they will be. Obviously, it depends on the real estate market. But that's just a little thing to think about, is that they're getting paid commission by the builder to work in the builder's interest, and you're just there spending your hard-earned money building a home, right? So that's kind of something to think about. Obviously, as a realtor, like, I know what's sold and I can work with you to get the best price. There's also things that we can negotiate in. Obviously, some of my clients are a little bit more savvy than others, which is fine by me because they know what they're doing. And I love those clients more because we can work together and we can say, can we get upgraded appliances? Can we get a fence outside? Can we get them to do the landscaping? Can we get them to throw in this? Get them to throw in that, right? So that's the best part about negotiation with a new build, because there's so many more things to negotiate than a house that's already been built and that's on the market. Also with spec homes, if it's already built, like, there's a good deal to be had there, right? Custom build, obviously it's going to be a little bit more expensive because it's what you want and they have to build it from scratch. But if they have inventory, there's a good negotiation line in there, and there's room that you could get a good deal. So yeah, I mean, relationship with the builders, buyers, and the agents is currently pretty strained. Some builders have policies that you as a buyer have to take me, your realtor, with you on the first viewing. Even if you don't talk price, even if you're not dedicated to buy it, if you go in there without me, I'm out of the deal. And they maximize their commission, and you no longer have representation. So your chance of getting a good deal has just gone down significantly, right? Because of all those things that I said in the last one, right? Negotiation, price negotiation, comparables. We have all those things in our arsenal to use when you're building a house, and I want you to have that at your disposal so you don't lose a shit ton of money when you're going to sell. So another thing that I've just learned is this relationship is strained because the builders have been they've been selling houses, and they look at their bottom line. They said, well, we paid realtors like this how many hundreds of thousands of dollars this year. How can we get rid of that, right? We don't want to pay these agents. We want to maximize our bottom line. So first thing they do is they implement a policy that's a little predatory. I mean, if you go to look at an open house, you have to bring me with you on the first one. And I mean, it's kind of a fair policy, but it's not at the same time. So it's kind of an interesting idea that it kind of skirts the guidelines, like they are realtor friendly, but not really, right? They want you to have your one chance to have your agent with you, and if you don't have them, then it's done, right? Then they've gotten the agent out, and that helps their bottom line. So that's an interesting thing that I've just encountered recently. But I mean, that's their prerogative, and as long as they can keep doing that, I mean, all the power to them. If I was in their position, maybe I would do the same thing too, because I want to, as a builder, I want to make the most money I possibly can too, right? Everybody's in the business to make money, so all the power to them. And then this brings me to other builders, right? I have some friends that work with builders, and I've talked to them, and even if you bring a realtor in on the third showing, right? It's fine because you haven't done a contract, you haven't gone through the custom of the house. It's still all up in the air, and they understand that a real estate agent can work for the buyer, and they want a good transaction with the buyer. They want you to be happy with your house, and they want you to get the price that you want and give them a 5-star review, right? So if you're building with a great builder, say you're going to South Edmonton, you want to build with a great builder. You have a realtor, the process is great. Say you looked at the house without them. You bring a realtor in. Even if you bring the realtor in with you on the first time, all you have to do is bring me in with you, register, and then you're good to go. But, some builders, they do want you to have a 5-star experience from beginning to end. So before the build, contract period, negotiations, pick everything you want, build it, move in, 5 stars. They want 5-star experience. I want that. I want you to be happy. And I want to make commission too, which is obviously pretty taboo. People don't want real estate. Some people don't want realtors to make money. So I don't know why that is, but that's kind of the way it is. But yeah, I hope you like this little video. It's kind of a little bit of an insight into, the relationship between you, the buyer, me, the realtor, and the builder. Obviously, the builder, they want to have their bottom line. They want to help their bottom line by funneling you in, making sure you don't have representation, and then maximizing commission, right? Which is fair enough. When you go to buy anything, that's what they want, because they do spend money on advertising. They want to, some builders, they tell you that you do not need a realtor, and it's better to buy a house without a realtor, which is not exactly in the rules per se, but as long as they can get away with it, I guess all the power to them. But it doesn't benefit you generally to not use a realtor, because we have years and years of experience, negotiation skills, and I want to help you get the best deal. So down the line, when you go to sell a house or sell that house that you built, you're not losing tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars, right? So you have to think, yes, you could do it all yourself at the beginning, but is that the best decision? Like you might get a deal from the builder's rep that is great, but we might be able to get that deal for you and more, right? So that's something to keep in mind. I hope you like this video. If you like the video, smash that subscribe button, like this video, and I'll be coming out with another video when I get passionate about something I want to talk about. So hope you have a good rest of your day, and have a good one.